watching Suddenly Ducks. I'm Bermuda.
And I'm Phil, and today we're going to be playing Shadowrun, and over to Warren.
Alright, so as I was just explaining earlier, you guys have just made a deal with Aaron. He's going to slip you out of Seattle for a while, where things have been heating up and quite a few organizations are looking for you for various reasons. And in return, you're going to do some jobs for him out of UCAS territory, specifically in Shanghai this time. You don't know how many runs or how many missions it's going to entail, but you do, well, you were promised that A, it will hide you from the people that are looking for you and throw them off your scent, maybe get rid of them permanently if they think they've lost you. And secondly, you know, working for Arn, even though many of you have summarized it's basically a deal with a devil, or at least that's what you think it is anyway, um, you will probably get paid quite well, because it's very obvious he's corp of some kind and very high up corp of some kind. So you agreed to take his mission in Shanghai, though he was pretty skimp on the details about what it involved. He pretty much told you nothing. He just told you to meet his contacts in a nondescript location in Redmond. So you guys can decide what you want to bring with you now. It will be very important to, decide exactly what you're going to bring and what you're going to leave. Bearing in mind, you might be in Shanghai for quite some time, so if you need to pay rent, you should pay it forward now if you haven't already paid it forward for 1 month, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, we should totally do that. I like how we literally and metaphorically got shanghaied into this job.
It's almost like I chose it because of that, isn't it?
Yes, I like it, Warren.
I'm just taking all my equipment. I don't have that much stuff.
Yeah, if you can literally just pack everything in a backpack and throw it in the car, that's fine.
Pretty much a couple of swords, a gun, and ammo. That's about it.
What was you saying, sorry?
The reason you need the rating for Sin, by the way, is because all planes traveling internationally, regardless, have their Sin scanned and checked, no matter where you land. So he's already doing the best to make you avoid everything, but the movement of people across borders is, inevitably going to be scanned. So this is the best way he could move you internationally. If you were going to go anywhere else, you'd probably like publicly, it would probably require anything from a rating 5 to a rating 6 to actually travel without getting some discrepancies. So because he's literally sending you to a private airport, there's far less questions asked, but they still have to ask some. So this is the best he could do for you. So you can already tell he's invested quite a bit in you, because this, to even charter this plane, let alone own it, and no questions asked, etc., would probably have cost him quite a considerable amount of money. So he's already invested quite a bit in you.
Well, shit.
Not to mention he gave you like 100,000 something deck. So
Yep.
there you go. So the day passes. You guys square or settle your deals and effects. Pay off your rent for the next month. And the following night, the area he said you to meet is fairly close to Firehead's house in Redmond. By the way, those riots from the previous months have settled down somewhat. Redmond is a lot more volatile than it used to be, but for the most part, once the sort of uprising began and the riots started clearing out, the more ruthless of the gangs that inhabit Redmond use the chaos to essentially grab territory and start gang wars between each other. So very quickly the riot sort of stuttered out as people realized that they were throwing everything they had at the police. They had nothing to throw at the other people that just came to steal their shit. So it's basically turned into a giant civil war in Redmond as people grab whatever they can. So anyone who's living in Redmond is not sorry to be leaving it right now. So anyway, you guys meet in the back alley in Redmond, just north of Firehead's place, and you take a short 30-40 minute drive just north to Everett, where you get to a very old industrial airport, which was clearly designed for the ferrying of cargo and large bulk items and very large planes. But tonight the whole place seems to be empty, and the only thing waiting there is a very private, very modern jet, which screams, as I said, corporate, but it has no markings whatsoever. The men who meet you in three very large vans, one of which has been altered to be able to carry a centaur,
Yay.
takes you to this airfield. They never ask you any questions. They just tell you to stow your bags and get in the back. unless you guys talk between yourselves about anything, they never say a single word to you, and they do not respond when you ask them questions.
I turn to Giant if I'm in like the same back of him and say, Giant, your accent, you're not from around here. Ever been to Shanghai?
Are we on the plane right now while you're asking me this?
No, you're in the car drive to Everett to the private jet. So
I guess I deny it then.
Okay. I mean, if you said it like as we got out of the van and saw the planes or whatever, you just see Giant staring at the planes with like big nervous eyes.
Alright.
Oh god, you don't like planes, do you?
Ain't getting on no plane.
Gonna have to knock him out.
Has
We're gonna
anyone
put
got
some
large
drugs
paper
in his
bag
pill, in his
Giant
mouth.
can breathe into?
It's like, I'm pretty sure Tex has a lot of bags of stuff, but I wouldn't say they're made out of paper or nor contain just air.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, Tex. Are you bringing like a shit ton of drugs?
Maybe.
Nothing forbidden.
Okay, just don't get
Yeah,
caught.
all illegal
because,
drugs.
For his glaucoma.
in China, a great many of the things that are legal here are not legal in China. Okay, specifically in Shanghai. All right.
Isn't Shanghai like fucking pirates?
Oh, yeah, it is, but it's also corporate city, so it has the corporate veneer, but beneath it is like an even bigger underground than Seattle, if you know what I mean.
I'm bringing like collapsible pistols and explosive ammunition, so
Yeah, it's fine.
if my powdered habits are the problem, we're in trouble.
Yeah, what I'm saying is just don't snort like Nova Coke in public, if you know what I mean.
Is
Unless
cram
it's
okay?
like back. Well, it depends on the rating. Basically the way it's gonna work is the rating of everything goes up by 2. All drugs that aren't like below a availability of like 4 immediately become forbidden. Okay. That's
So
the best way it's gonna.
Cram and Psych are both then okay, because that's what
Alright,
What
go
about
Cram is
my
like
sanity drugs?
2.
Your sanity
Psych
drugs
is
are
0.
street legal. You just got them illegally, so yeah.
Oh, okay.
went so far out of your way to get them, but
Are you
okay,
even bringing them to China? It's not like you use them.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine we brought them just in case. You've probably got it in like some form of papoose that you're carrying me around in now or something.
Little baby bird.
John just carries Murdoch's drugs just in case.
I weaved a papoose out of like straw and grass, and I just put him inside of it. Carry him with me.
Right. So when you guys get to the small, like I said, industrial airport in Everett, the men get you out. They take your bags out for you, unless you specifically take them yourselves. They leave them on the tarmac there. They just signal each other, or they drive off. A minute or two later, some men come out of the plane wearing more what look like engineer sort of garment, or people who've been prepping the plane, and they tell you to get on, and that everything's ready. However, the pilots and the rest of the flight crew, well, there's only 2 pilots, the pilot and the co-pilot, will not be interacting with you for the entirety of the trip. But there's food and water and everything you need on the plane, and there's even like it's a pretty like ritzy plane, so the seats are basically the equivalent of like small reclining beds, so you'll be able to sleep if you need to.
How long is the flight?
Murdoch. Sorry, carry on.
The
How
flight
long?
to Shanghai,
Yeah, I asked the crew
somewhere in upwards of, because you're going suborbital, about what was it? Let me just check. It is about 12 to 14 hours, give or take.
I guess I turn to the indicator. Is there any entertainment on the flight?
Well, it's a first class like jet,
Yeah,
so
so-
everything
yeah.
has full on AR displays with like a whole list of like grid videos and stuff. So
It's got Matrix access, right?
yeah, and there's a minibar and shit on it as well. So
Murdoch, you know about like vehicles and drones and these kind of things. Yes, you are engineer.
What is it? Let me just find out if I am.
Let me just check my brain.
He's not an engineer, he's a doctor. Drones are people, Jaws.
Sorry, that was insensitive of me.
I'm in fact manic. Yeah. I'm totally great. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm
Murdoch,
good at this stuff.
I have question. If plane were to have engines cut out in middle of air and crash into ground in just burning heap of metal and burning flesh, where would you sit in vehicle for best chance not to die?
Right at the back.
Okay, and then Giant just walks off to the back of the plane.
I go
Alright.
and follow Giant. I bring one of like my duffel bags, I guess, and like I open it up and say Giant, and like I just take it out and say, probably won't fit you, but take this. Like it's a bit of diving gear that I have.
Thank you, She. Could I ask a favor of you?
I nod my head.
When we take off, could you hold Giant's hand?
I say, yeah, buddy, all right.
I will try
Giant,
and not
let's build
crush
a pillow
tiny
fort.
fingers.
I can probably take quite a bit of a squeeze, but not too hard.
I will try.
We'll build a pillow fort. It'll be great. More protection.
Okay, have we got masking tape? I can put pillows around body. This will keep me safe.
Is there a shower on the plane?
No.
Fuck. Alright.
There's
Then
a
it is
toilet
in
with a
first
sink.
class.
I guess I also turn to Firehead whilst we're on and say, hey, Firehead, if you don't mind, none of your parlor tricks. It would be,
I like my hands on fire.
Fuck off.
Alright. So
So
you all
see
get on.
Giant like breathe faster into the bag when he sees this.
She just says, fuck off.
So you all get on the plane, one by one, and do whatever shenanigans, tying various people down. And once you're all on and your bags are stowed, the pilot just sends a brief, sit down, buckle your seatbelts, get ready for departure, and says pretty much nothing else. So after a few more moments pass, the plane skids along to the tarmac, makes its run, and immediately its jet engines go off, and you guys soar up into the sky and bank towards Shanghai. So if you guys have anything you want to do for 14 hours, like look up more details about Shanghai or do anything else, because you were given a package about what you were supposed to do by the people in the car, so you could open it up and have a look if you want to do that.
Is she a dude or a girl? I keep forgetting.
It's his dude.
She is a bisexual dude, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He only likes elves, so
Ah.
don't get any
Amber,
ideas.
Amber. I hear there's this magical club called the Mile High Club. Hey, listen. How about it?
The what?
The Mile High Club.
Do you get a badge
Basically, we
when
do
you
it
join?
on a plane. Do you want to do it on a plane?
No.
Okay. Lonely wank in the toilets for me then. See you in a minute, guys.
Don't
Who
tear
wants
it
to take
off
bets on whether he is recording himself? I'm going to bet yes.
with a fly spy.
Very likely.
Probably cannot have those devices turned on during the flight.
I turn to Giant like I about like 6 hours into the flight if no one does anything else, or and say, hey Giant, I've seen you in our recent encounters take a hit quite well, so I was hoping that you could hopefully teach me to how would I put it, use my body.
Oh shit, Warren. Are they totally going to scan us for anything else, like illegal weapons and stuff?
No, the only thing that's going to be scanned is your sins.
Okay, wicked.
I mean, what is it you want to... One moment, and Giant just, like, closes the window on the thing, because he keeps, like, glancing out of it occasionally. It's freaking him out. What is it exactly you want to learn? I mean, if you want to get tougher, we can hit the gym. I can get you real swole.
Yeah, basically, I just want to know how you get, like... I guess your meta type is very well at being buff, but I want to be able to get as close to buff as you, basically.
Well, there are a few things I can recommend. First, I use a very specific mixture of creatine powder. I eat at least 30 raw eggs when I wake up in the morning as well. I will write this all down for you.
Like, okay. Thanks, bud.
Fucking she and Giant gonna hit the gym together.
Need to get sworn, man.
So no one wants to look up what you're going to do in Shanghai?
Yeah, well, Kix will, because she's Wikipedia.
I assume Kix has it, so...
Yeah, like I
Well,
said, you're
thanks.
also given a data stick with what you were supposed to do once you reach there.
Yeah, she's gonna read that until she's satisfied, and then she's gonna play some Matrix games.
Okay, so booting
No
up the
SimSense
disk.
porn.
What?
No SimSense porn on the.
Who
I thought you
watches
said
porn on a
incest
flight?
porn.
Wow.
Well, there was one time my brother and I... No. No, she's not gonna watch porn on the flight.
I'm trapped in a very small room for 16 solid hours. I'm gonna make myself frustratedly aroused.
With strange horse centaur porn.
Yeah.
So booting up the disk, it pretty much auto loads the second you put it in, and several fairly detailed documents pop up detailing places in Shanghai, like a general overview of the city, the map. It also lists some of the various factions which essentially run Shanghai, their threat level essentially, and how difficult they will be to deal with, and who to avoid completely. There's also a detailed map of places to acquire various illegal items should you need them. There's also a listed location that you are supposed to go to, and that's all the details it tells you. It simply tells you to go to a warehouse in a place called... Let me look it up real quick.
I'm sorry that if all of these are like Asian names, I'm going to be butchering them.
Yeah, Baoshan is the place you need to go to. There's a warehouse on the edge of the Yangtze there, and you need to meet someone there. It doesn't describe who, but it says the only person you need to meet there will be the only person there, okay? And they will detail the missions ahead, okay?
I guess at some point I'm like, I see that Kix is scanning through documents or she's in the Matrix or whatever. So I DNI through to her. I'm like, Kix, I have a question about when we go to Shanghai. Could you look it up for me?
You got it. What's your question? Fire away.
Can you look up how they are about people carrying around weapons in public? I don't want to be armed outside if it is... They crack down hard on that kind of thing.
Okay, I'll see what kind of areas maybe are more lenient about that.
Okay, so open carry laws in China are massively prohibited, like far more prohibited than they are in the UCAS. Even being visibly seen with the equivalent of like a knife over like 4 inches is considered to be armed with a deadly weapon. Okay, while this is true, China is a contradiction in that more people in China are armed with weapons than they are in Seattle, UCAS. Okay, so although no one is supposed to be visibly carrying, hidden holsters and cars full of guns are not uncommon. So pretty much everywhere you go, everyone is going to be packing if they have any sort of money to buy guns, if you understand what I mean.
Do you have like another house rule for that? Like, because a bow is not like restricted or anything in Seattle, would that be restricted in
Yes, that would be considered a weapon in Shanghai.
Exactly. So,
What about drones with lots of guns on them?
Drones with no visible weapons are completely legal, and drones are used massively throughout Shanghai to a very large degree. It's a very large techno capital. Drones are used extensively in everything. Visible weapons on drone are strictly prohibited.
So, how fast is it to quickly put on and off a gun in the like?
You literally
gun
have to like
slot?
do a hardware test to detach it and put it back on again, something like that. The equivalent of that, basically.
Maybe when we land, we can hire a van or something like this. Something just to store our weapons in, so we're not carrying them around with us.
yeah, I say once we get down in the city, there's if anyone could spare me a K, then could
Some ketamine? Yeah, I've got some ketamine.
yeah, no, I could go get myself a weapon that is comes in a briefcase basically.
It's how Giant conceals his weapons.
And I also turn to text and
Oh god, why?
I turn to text and say, did you tag scan or whatever it was you did back in the bar on all of the provided food and that here? Since you would seem so worried about it beforehand.
Tex is just like eating like snacks that he brought with him, and he says, I ain't eating any food on the plane.
Like, can I at least borrow that eraser thing of yours then, and double check?
My tag eraser? Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Here you go. Hands it to you.
So thanks, and I just go like scan some drinks.
So you're
Some
just running
food.
like the tag eraser all over the entire plane, basically.
Of the food, yeah.
All the food, all the water, and all the electronics on the thing are tagged.
Alright, I don't know what that means in like game terms, so.
They're all marked with tracking chips, matrix, like things that basically mark you and things like that.
Alright.
Yeah. But if you're running the tagerizer over them, it fries them all.
Yeah, they're all fried as you do it, but like the second you put it over the fruit, it lights up like Chernobyl, basically. And then goes dead.
I gotta say, food's now safe to eat, I guess, so that's a good sign. Unless those things can be
If you want thousands of like tiny little nano computers in you, yeah, sure.
But they are fried though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so like...
Tex just like holds out his bag of pretzels so you can have one.
I was like, thanks, and I hand you back the tag eraser.
He nods.
But would that piss him off, do you think, or...?
Who, Aaron?
Yeah.
Probably expects it.
Alright.
Alright, so anyone else want to do anything else on the 14-hour plane trip over?
12 hours of it, I'm in the bathroom.
99 bottles of beer on the wall.
That's one long blank.
But what if someone else needs to use the bathroom?
Busy!
Work around him.
Occupied.
Just pee between the space between my legs.
Oh, God.
I guess... Like, I know Firehead hates elves, just outright, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's like the worst.
Yeah.
Big prejudice, I think.
Yeah, I guess I'll go to Giant first and say, hey Giant, there may be a time when we, or Firehead, or even both of us, end up going head to head, and I just want to know what your stance will be on that.
I will pin you both down and sit on you until you talk it out.
He's like, have you seen where I hide my pistol? I will put you both in there.
Okay, I'd say thanks, I guess. And then I'd go to like Tex and ask him the same question.
What was the question?
If me and Firehead might end up coming to butting heads at one point, so where's your stance on that, you know? Like, what will you do in that situation?
Tex just says, save the drama for your mama, Bowman.
Like, I'm just saying that it will probably end up happening one day. Like, probably end up pissing me off somehow, and you know how much he hates my kind.
Wait, Firehead doesn't like elves?
No, Giant.
Oh,
Oh,
John.
wow. That is news to me. I will have to think about this. Give me a moment.
And then
2 years later.
last of all, I'll go to Kix and ask the same question.
I'm surprised it hasn't happened already,
Yeah,
to be honest.
I'd nod my head and agree. Like, yeah, but just want to know if it does come to happen, you got my back, or you gonna stay idle? I won't be offended if you stay out of it.
I mean, I don't want either of you to be starting a fight.
I'm not gonna start one. I'm just making sure that if everyone does start, I know where people are.
I just remember a long time ago you asking me if I had your back, and then you started a fight, and I don't want that to happen again. I don't want a rerun of that.
There
Don't
were
worry.
dildos involved.
Yeah. Like that one just said a little bit too much. But if you've noticed in the past couple of how long we've been together? Like 2 months or 3, something like that.
Probably longer.
Well, you two together, I
Yeah.
don't know, longer than that, but I think it's 3 months or something.
Yeah, I say like in the past couple of weeks, months, I haven't done anything similar. You know, I was too
True.
used to my old days of picking fights and asking questions later.
Well, I don't want anything to happen to either of you, so I mean, if it came to blows and somebody was, you know, hanging by a thread, you know, within an inch of their life, I think whoever it is, I'd come to their aid.
I nod my head and say, "All right, I understand. Thank you."
Yep. So like, if it was you, I would
Yeah.
help you. So if that's what you want to know.
All right, thank you.
But why would Firehead not like elves? I do not understand.
Giant, have you ever walked down the street and people like spat on your feet?
Yes?
That they don't like you because of
Wait,
What
those
race you
people
are?
do not like me?
no, Giant.
Oh. Do they serve alcohol on here? Oh wait, no, it's full of bugs. God damn
I've scanned them.
You're blowing Giant's mind right now.
I just go and knock on the bathroom door, and I'm like, Murdoch, get out, I need some time alone.
Busy!
Join me.
There is not room in there for both of us.
There's not even room in there for you, it's not for Giant. The toilet's like tiny.
Give it a few minutes, it might smell a bit weird.
I've
Yeah,
changed mine, you can stay in there.
Are they metahuman serviceable?
No.
Racist.
This is a
What
corp
does
thing, it
Kix
was
do?
clearly designed only with, like, normal metahuman variants in mind.
Giant has to like pee in a bottle.
Yeah, it's just silent on the plane, and everyone suddenly hears the sound of water hitting other water. And Giant just looking left to right sheepishly.
Alright.
Have you ever seen a female horse pissing? It's horrendous.
No.
Oh god.
You were watching me?
Basically, it's just like a shower.
Yeah,
Lovely.
I'm curious, how is the centaur seated on the plane?
On the floor, just like.
Probably just kneeling on the floor.
I like to think she's suspended from the ceiling in like one of those harnesses for horses.
Like how they ship whales and shit?
Yeah.
Like dolphins?
Someone keep dumping a bucket of water on me.
So every time someone's having a conversation with Kix, they're just like craning their head upwards.
Anyway. After like 14 hours or so of travel, you guys land or visibly start to see Shanghai. So, Shanghai is an immense city that kind of puts Seattle to shame. It's vastly larger, and it's essentially I forgot what they call them. It's like a conurbation where it's essentially linked to 3 other cities, so it's massive in scale and size. When you get there, you land in a very small, and I mean very small, airport just north of Baoshan, where you need to go. And you're let out, and the pilots immediately head off to refuel and go back to Seattle. So there's no cars or anything waiting for you, so you'll need to rent them. However, in the data stick with all the documents you read, Kix, there's like essentially a rent-a-car place quite close by. And that it is fully automated. The only thing you need is a registered international SIN, okay?
Okay.
With an attached driver's license. So
How bad is the pollution here, Warren?
pollution here is near on catastrophic levels. It's constantly dusky, and there's never any. It's never bright, or it's like the way it's essentially a lot of China's large cities right now are pretty awful.
Mhm.
It's like that all the time, but magnified. The vast majority of the people were basically little attached. It's like in the actual Shadowrun lore. It's pretty cool actually. They attach these little sort of machines to their throats essentially, and when they breathe air, it automatically filters out pollution. And pretty much everyone who goes outside constantly has one of these air filters attached to their throats that essentially, when you breathe, it automatically detects pollution and essentially takes it porously through your skin and breathes it out for you basically. So your breath will stink and taste like shit, but at least you won't die of pollution.
I think Giant wants to go old school and just buys one of those little white surgical masks.
Yeah, you could do that too.
Not gonna be white after 8 hours.
I look around and say, has anyone got a driving license? I don't have any.
I do.
Cool. Murdoch, your sim we're using then, I guess.
Wait, do you need
Yeah.
license to drive? This is a day of revelations for Giant.
So, when you go out from the small little airport, like I said, they scan you, the customs officers. They seem rather bored. So long as you all have a rating 4 SIN, you automatically pass and get through. Okay. As soon as you get out, you guys get there roughly sometime after midnight. And, this is essentially the conditions you're given straight away. Okay? So I had this uploaded from before, so it looked like I can use it.
Put the Shadowrun Hong Kong soundtrack on in my background.
I could turn it on, probably, if it's on, I wonder, is it on?
I'm sure the dubstep remix with freestyles over the top of them are on SoundCloud.
Probably. No, I don't think it's on SoundCloud just yet. I'll probably play like one of the other ones though. What's one is this game? No, not that one. No, not that one. Yeah, I think that was the one I was going with. Anyway, so you guys are here. You can get a car pretty quickly. It's up to you if you want to.
Well, I have
Well, we need somewhere to stash guns, so we should definitely pick car up. Possibly
Can we
van,
get
even
that
if we can get
GMC
that.
van?
Well, which car are you going to get? Because they have every available car you can think of in like the Asian model variant, basically.
Oh.
It's the same stats, it just uses different ones. It's like fluff, essentially.
So there's 7 of us, and 2 of us, I guess, count as 2 people. So we need a big fucking van. So we'd need to rent a...
I think it's the GMC Bulldog Step van is what we need to look like the 18.
Yeah, rules as written, there is no vehicle that can hold us all.
Yeah, I mean, you guys can get like a larger variant of something, and I won't.
I think a
complain too much.
Roadmaster could, but that's a little insane.
Yeah, we probably want like a metahuman modified GMC Bulldog. That could probably fit all of us in.
Where'd you see how many seats in Chummer?
I don't think Chummer has it. You have to look it up.
Oh god.
Yeah, it's in the book.
That would be a useful feature.
Yeah, the Mitsubishi Night Sky and Ares Roadmaster have 8 seats, but they're stupid expensive. Then next is the GMC Bulldog, which is only 6 seats, but if it's like a troll
Well,
version...
you're not buying it, you're going to rent it, right?
The Endurance van has 8 seats. The GMC Endurance.
Book
Yeah,
is
it
that
does.
from?
It's in Stolen Souls, I think.
Yeah, Stolen
Yeah.
Souls, page
186.
186. Yeah.
Which I think that's the one that Murdoch was talking about.
He
To
was
buy
talking
it
about
is to buy it is
The 18
35,000 yuan. So I mean, to rent it for a prolonged period of time. I mean, you guys don't know how long you're going to be here because you haven't been given the details of what you're doing here yet. So it's up to you guys to judge how long you want to rent it for.
We can take it out for a week and like extend it if we go any further, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and if it explodes, we just get a new one.
Yeah, someone use a sin to rent this that they don't mind burning, just in case we destroy the van.
Oh,
So
my
based on
Robert Marley sin.
Based on its price, to rent it for a week would be 350 yuan.
350.
Oh, let me see how much.
Yeah,
It's like 50 each, basically.
Yeah, that's not much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's do that then.
Okay, so it's signed off to Murdoch under your fake name with the driver's license, Murdoch. So just remember that if it gets burned, it's your issue.
I'm sure everyone will help me out.
Yep. So you get it, and after a 20 minutes of scrabbling, getting everybody and their gear into it, including like the bags your drones are in and everything else, you guys head off into Shanghai. That's another image I had. So Shanghai is massively overpopulated is the best way to describe it. No matter where you go, you never see less than a couple hundred people crowding a street at any one time. At any hour of the day, it seems, because it's already like about 2 in the morning, and there's way more people than there ever is all over Seattle. So you guys continue on, and it takes you roughly about an hour to get to where you're going to go, because traffic is heavy and pedestrians are everywhere. It seems if you want to get anywhere in Shanghai in a quick amount of time, the best way to do it is to own a VTOL or something similar. So after about an hour, you guys finally do get to the warehouse you're going to go to, and for the first time in a while, you get to a sort of a small industrial estate, heavy industrial estate on the edge of the river, and there's far less people, but still a ton going to and fro from the basically 24/7 factories that constantly work here. and seem to mostly load and unload cargo to go up and down the Ansi. When you get there, the warehouse you go to is fairly deserted and quite dilapidated looking. It looks like it was built several decades ago and sort of abandoned in the ever, increasing industrial revolution of the Sixth World. And it seems pretty run down on the outside, at least. It doesn't look like it's in any state of massive disrepair, but it could use a paint job, and it definitely looks like it hasn't been opened in a couple of years, if you know what I mean. So when you get there, there is a padlock on the door, like an actual full-on padlock, that's rusted over and absolutely caked in rust, like I said. So you could literally just like snap it off or like chop it off with a katana or something, and you'd be able to get inside the warehouse. And this is, according to the GPS thing you guys got along with the data stick, this is exactly where you need to be.
Dragon, crush it with your... No, not dragon. Giant, crush it with your bare hands.
You can call me Dragon if you want, I have no problem with this.
Oh.
But sure thing, and I just grab the lock and tug it off.
Okay, so it rips off very easily. You don't even need to make a strength test because I already know you're ridiculously strong.
Kix proposes that Giant should get a dragon tattooed on his bicep.
Would I look cool? Would that make
You
me
would
super
look
cool?
so badass. You would get all the ladies.
I will
Yes,
think
you
about
would.
this. Maybe you can do illustration for me.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Okay, so after breaking it off, the whole place is deadly quiet. What do you guys want to do? Because, like I said, I don't have maps. This was going to be a map, but couldn't upload it. So
I guess I motion to Giant, say, "Hey, Giant, you going first? I've got your back."
I just nod. Let's keep it quiet. We don't know what's waiting for us in here.
Yeah, I guess I'll go quickly grab my bow and arrow from one of my duffel bags.
I don't think he would spend so much money to bring us here, only to have us ambushed.
Yeah.
oh, there's no lights on inside the place. There's like a faint stink of industrial like waste coming out of it, and it looks fairly dilapidated, and it's completely pitch black inside.
So I reach
I turn
down,
on
grab my
fire.
my creepy anime girl ballistic mask, and put it on, and turn on my ultrasound sensor, and like ping inside to see if it hits off of anything.
Yeah. So your ultrasound echoes through the place, and you can see large industrial machinery that's quite dormant and quite outdated. Most modern machinery is heavily augmented with like drone, construction workers, but in here it's more like mundane, old metal presses, welding machines and things like that needed to be worked by actual humans. And every now and then your ultrasound picks up the drop of what appears to be old machine lubricant dripping off some busted pump in the back. But the whole place seems pretty dilapidated. There's rusty chains that used to hold steel beams that were being welded, bent, and like cut throughout the place. But other than that, you don't see anything except rats like scurrying on the ground away from you when you bash the door open.
I can't
Anything
feel anything
wireless?
moving inside.
Any wireless devices pinging?
There is. That's a good question, actually. There's none that you can openly see.
Are there any devices running silent within 100 meters?
If she does a check, yes, she will find that there is a device running silent yet.
Okay.
But you don't need to check because you'll automatically get it, more or less. So.
Oh, I don't need to. Okay.
Yeah, so there is a small, almost comlink sort of device in the back near what was probably the overseer's sort of office near the very back of the warehouse, and it's the only thing with an active matrix signature still alive in this deserted, dilapidated warehouse.
I think we found our answer.
I'll move in first. Everyone else stay behind.
Yeah, I
Right.
put my gas mask on.
Yeah, I flick my vibrator blade on and start walking in.
Is
Alright.
that your dildo?
Kix stays
I hear a
well
slight
behind.
Alright, so you guys slowly clear in. This place is like the definition of creepy, to put it into perspective. It's definitely not the kind of place anyone wants to be at like 2 or 3 in the morning.
Is it a clown factory where they used to make old clowns? There's like
No.
disassembled clown parts all over the place.
It seems to have been a heavy manufacturing place. That...
How do you make clowns?
Phil, what do you think a
process.
clown
Drone
is?
clowns, man.
God.
Have you
Really
seen
a
the film
nightmarish dystopia,
Special
really.
FX?
What, don't you think everybody's a drone? So isn't this just like where they make the drone people that are clowns?
Yeah, but I mean, have you seen the film Special FX or whatever it's called?
Oh yeah,
No.
Ages ago, where they had a robot clown. Yeah, that was horrendous.
where he like pretends to shoot people with the special effects to make them think they're
Yeah.
dead or whatever. Yeah, it's a good
Yeah.
movie.
Alright. So you guys make your way through. It's pretty much deadly quiet. Nothing ever pings up on you. Nothing ever jumps out. And you guys are A-okay. So the overseer's office was quite roomy, so you can all pack in. Even though it's kind of dilapidated, it's still, you know, it has office chairs. Though many of them seem to have been eaten out and turned into like rat's nests essentially. But you could sit in the chairs if you want to. But it's pretty run down to say the least. However, there is something quite out of place in this run down and dilapidated shut in. There is a very there is a very modern console is the best way to describe it. It's a mix between a cyber deck and a comlink. It's essentially like the laptop of the Sixth World. Essentially, it looks like more or less kind of like a iPad or any other sort of something along those lines, and it just essentially sits there, and it's just inactive, waiting for someone to essentially turn it on or to awaken it, basically.
Kix twitches her tail and then goes up and puts a finger on it, or swipe to unlock.
Okay. So when you touch it, anyone who has AR active, which I guess is everyone but Amber, because Amber doesn't like that shit. So
Nope.
Amber, you should never turn it on in Shanghai, otherwise you're gonna get AR everywhere. So as soon as you turn it on and swipe it, it becomes active and it starts to essentially boot up in split seconds. It turns on, and then as you look down, it says a large amount of words in Chinese, well, in Mandarin. Or Cantonese. Is it Mandarin or Cantonese? I think it's Cantonese is the main one, isn't it? Or is it Mandarin?
In
I never
Shanghai.
remember. Yeah.
I think
Probably
Cantonese,
Yeah, Cantonese.
but both are spoken. I just think Cantonese is a little
Yeah.
more popular.
Yeah, Cantonese is the one that says like 90% or 80% or something. Anyway, yeah, it starts saying a load of instructions and seems to be initializing something in Cantonese, so unless anyone can speak Cantonese, you don't know what it's saying.
Yeah, Tex speaks Cantonese.
Everyone looks at Tex.
Go ahead and
Activating
roll.
clown production.
Go ahead and roll them.
Yeah, let me check.
Because it's not a natural one for you, right? It's one you picked up. Yeah.
Right. Boom.
Okay, so you read some basic things. A lot of it seems to be technical jargon, so it's hard to get a grasp of exactly what it means. But you see the word establishing, you see connection, you see uplink, you see various other buzzwords that would be associated with the Matrix.
Yeah, it looks like it's booting up onto the Matrix.
Yeah, it's definitely establishing a connection with somewhere, and all of you can see like actual Roman numerals of like what appears to be like a Matrix address, and it seems to be encrypting it and everything else. So a few moments later, a small AOR display pops up visibly to everyone who can see it. Anyone who doesn't have AOR can just see the person flat on the screen, and you see what could be described as a middle-aged to going on old age Chinese man who appears right before you and then just sort of looks you all over and says, well, you don't look like much in sort of broken English, but I guess if he sent you, then you'll have to do. Welcome. You can call me Feng.
Fang or
No
Fang?
thing.
Feng.
Alright.
And Tex actually looks Cantonese at this point, by the way, just to clarify.
Mm-hmm. He looks
He
Chinese.
looks like a language.
Yeah.
Sorry, Chinese. Actually, I would guess that Canton is actually a region of China. And
It's a
there's
dialect,
Cantonese
I think. Yeah.
Is there like a webcam on this laptop?
You can pretty much all Matrix devices have a uniform ability to, like, if someone is projecting essentially like a AOR call like this, you can pretty much be assured it has multiple ways to see you. So
Yeah,
Alright.
Canton is a province in China, so.
yeah.
But yeah, he looks Chinese.
Mm-hmm. So he just says, "Welcome to Shanghai. We'll have to be brief, as or, well, no, he says you're actually going to be here for some time. He says we have a lot of work ahead of us, so please, sit down and relax. There will probably be many questions." And then he just sort of looks around at the dilapidated chairs and says, "Are not your choice. I don't really care."
Yeah, Giant stays standing.
Round
Pass
the
it down.
corner and lean into it.
Hmm.
Kix puts like one of her rear hooves like on the hoof tip like horses do, just like standing on three legs with like the fourth one just resting stylishly.
Okay. Right, so he waits for you all to get situated or do whatever you're going to do, and then he says, well, I guess you're all more interested in what you're doing here rather than anything else. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. All you need to know about me is I'm something of a facilitator, and I've been hired by our mutual benefactor to oversee this little operation. That's all you need to know about me. If you need help, don't hesitate to call me, but I'd rather you didn't bother me about some minutia. I'm sure he's given you a care package to detail anything about food or accommodation. And then he sort of says, "Well, if that's all, let's get down to business then." So he, moves a few swipes in his hand, clearly bringing up something into the display, and then a few minutes later, an image of another middle-aged Chinese man appears, and he says, "This is the reason why you're here. This man is called Bao Zhao, and he is your target here in Shanghai. I don't know if you're aware of this, but every year in Shanghai, the more or rather less reputable organizations of the city hold a rather large event known as the Challenging. It's a rather ancient custom that's been passed down and morphed throughout the decades into the semi-abomination, I guess you could call it now. I believe the closest thing you would call it is your urban brawl matches that are so popular in the UCAS. It's quite similar here, except far more deadly with far more less rules. I believe you can understand what I'm trying to get at. They are essentially competitive fights to the death, with the winner gaining a rather large amount of prestige and an even larger amount of Nuan. The reason why this is relevant is because Bao Zhao is the leader of a rather large underground organization here, which is in direct conflict with your and my employer. What you're doing here is you're going to eliminate him, and you're going to get whatever information you can from his personal details while you do it. To do this is going to be quite difficult, however. Bao Zhao is a very influential man here in Shanghai, and is very rarely ever seen in public. The only reason he's going to be available this year is because our employer paid great expense to another group of individuals to have one of his, let's put it this way, red poles would be the best way to describe it, one of his lieutenants eliminated. Thus, his intervention in this year's Challenger sponsorship from his organization is directly needed, otherwise they will forfeit and lose a great amount of face with their competitors. Thus, your mission here is going to be threefold. Firstly, you're going to infiltrate a data haven here, which holds the details of the contestants and competitors for the challenge, and you're going to enter yourselves as combatants for another organization. All the organizations remain anonymous, but are well known to those in the know. But it will be difficult for them to be able to discern who exactly you work for, and by the time they figure out you are an irregularity, it will be too late. So the first part of your mission will be to infiltrate this data center and plant yourselves into the challenge so that you may compete as competitors. The second part will be to obviously attend the challenge and survive enough rounds to be able to infiltrate and steal Bao Zhao's information.
Do we all have to enter as competitors?
Yes,
Not
what
really
size are
much
the
of a-
teams for these things?
Sorry, I was talking to someone. The teams are roughly anything between 5 to 10 members in size. The need for you to do this is because only the challengers will know the exact location, well, the challengers and their managers will know the exact locations of where the challenge will take place. You will need to survive several rounds before you may be able to get a break in which to infiltrate Bao Zhao's private suite and steal his data. Also, once this occurs, I have been gifted with a rather precious package, a undetectable incendiary device, which will be planted inside Bao Zhao's suite. You will then compete in one more challenge. While this challenge is occurring, you will detonate this device, killing Bao Zhao as he watches the match. You will then use the confusion caused by this explosion to escape, and that will be the conclusion of your mission in Shanghai, and you will be given leave to leave the city, which will be organized by our employer, and paid compensation. Is there any questions?
In these challenges, are weapons provided, or do we go in with our own gear, or is it bare fists?
It is a challenge of all talents. It is not just physical. There will be matrix opponents, magical opponents, and physical opponents of all kinds. So while the details of the teams will not be revealed to anybody, you will be infiltrating the data haven, which contains the data of the challengers. So I suggest once you're there, you steal the data so that you can prepare yourselves for the challenges to come. Many of them may be above your pay grade, and he sort of looks over you and sort of smiles a bit. But I'm confident that if you know their weaknesses, you may be able to prevail in ways they did not expect.
Okay,
The way it works is, essentially, you all have to enter the ring. But if you have people which are not skilled in combat, but are usable for other things, such as matrix infiltration, I suggest you cover them, or they will become easy pickings for the enemy combatants.
I say, how unlikely is it that a team turns up to these challenges without a manager in tow?
There will be a manager. I will be your manager.
Okay.
As I said, the teams are anonymous. Only the contract is paid in. It is quite heavy. It is a 50 million yuan buy-in every year. However, it is too late for us to enter these details. The only way to get you in now is to infiltrate the data haven and plant your names directly into the list, including my own.
Do you have any skills for once we're on site?
He nods and says, yes, I'm quite a competent matrix specialist in and of myself. In fact, this is one of the reasons why I was hired. The data haven you will be infiltrating is normally completely untouchable. However, I have found a weakness in its defenses and will severely limit its ability to counteract your intrusion for about 20 minutes. That's about as long as I can give you to get in there, plant what you need to do, and get out. After that, the security loophole will be plugged, and things will become much more difficult for you.
Say, is there any restrictions on gear we take in? Like, I guess, if I were
Into
to,
the challenge?
Yeah.
There are no restrictions to whatever gear you bring in.
I say, Giant, how would you like for us to pitch together and buy you a assault cannon? I have a feeling that might be very useful in such a arena.
Honestly, I can kill far better with my swords. I'm not very skilled with those.
Alright,
Tex chimes up and says, "What can you tell us about the other combatants?"
He says, not much. All I can tell you is every single one of them, for the challenge every year, are extremely lethal mercenaries from all around the world, who have been implicitly hired for their ability to kill. Now, of course, every year it changes. Repeat combatants are rare, but not unheard of. Some champions, it is rumored, have gone on win streaks for several years in a row and earned enough money to retire from the life permanently, as it were. However, details about the exact combatants is always held secret. This is also one of the reasons you need to infiltrate the data haven. This is the only place we can gain the information we'll need to prepare you to fight each individual challenge and learn their weaknesses.
Who owns this data haven?
Wuzing, or Wujing, whatever it's called, owns the data haven.
Good spirits. I guess Only other thing I have to ask is, what is pay for this?
So he looks over and says, "Well, my own pay is my own, of course. I have no inclination to tell you that, but I've been told to inform you that each mission, let me look it up real quick. Okay, so each mission will obviously get progressively more detailed and more intensive. Thus, the reward and payout will be extravagantly larger per each one. However, this first incursion into the it's Wujing or Wuzhang, I can never remember.
Wujing.
Wujing
yeah.
Data Haven will be a reward of 140,000 yuan.
Between the 7 of us, yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
20,000 each.
Yep.
This is non-negotiable, of course, or he presumes you will take it.
I turn to him and say, in these combats, has anyone ever been? Is anyone of the losing team ever been left alive? Since I look around and say, in our past we have tended to left more people knocked out than dead.
The fights are to the death.
No questions, like.
No questions, no mercy.
Yeah. All right. And I can do this. I look to the other and say, are you guys comfortable with killing that many people?
Yes.
Kind of gives a slow shrug, and he says, "We are in Shanghai now. It is too late to be second-guessing this."
I look over to Firehead.
Something tells me Firehead is fine with killing people.
Yeah, he just smiles.
I want to see him unleash the beast.
If anyone doesn't mind, there is a certain weapon that I believe would aid me greatly. I just require 1,105 new yen.
He's already begging.
Yeah.
A new bow.
Aren't you the
No.
richest guy in the group?
Yeah, but I still can't afford this weapon, so it's a Ares. No, hold on, give me a second.
Still have to find it and remember everything here gets +2 and.
I was just gonna burn an edge for it, so.
Gonna burn an edge. What
yep.
the fuck?
What the hell?
Ranger arms.
You want a briefcase sniper?
Yeah, it'll be useful, man. Because it's 16F, so here it will be 18F.
Mm-hmm.
That's not impossible to get.
Yeah, just very unlikely.
No, you pre-edge, I think Aaron could probably get that pretty easy.
Yeah. Are you sure you have enough money though? Because you're gonna want to put a shitload of mods on it and stuff.
Yeah, I remember mods can bump up the thing like over double what it was before and shit.
Oh, sure. Well,
yeah, depending on what you put on
image
it.
scope, stock, and shock pad, so. But I
Smart link. Personal grip.
You'll want all that stuff. So.
Okay, I guess I'll save up a bit more then.
Maybe we can get it for you after we finish this first job in the Data Haven.
Yeah, I was like, I guess there's not going to be much killing there, so yeah.
Well, Mr. Feng, I think you have yourself a deal.
So he nods and says, "Well, you came all this way. I presumed it wouldn't be otherwise."
Alright, you smug prick.
So he just says, "As I said, I am your contact and your facilitator here in Shanghai. Please, we will never meet in person until we infiltrate the challenge. However, please take this this machine below me, or this console below me, and use it to contact me should you ever need me. Its only purpose is to contact one destination and one person, and that's me. It will do nothing else."
Kix will pick it up.
Okay, so...
One question before you leave. What is the time scale on hitting this Data Haven?
He says the challenge is due to occur in roughly 3 weeks' time. So you have some time to prepare and scout it out, but time is of the essence, because we will need to prepare for the combatants in the challenge.
Of course.
So we strike fast, and then prep for the get the most time in prepping.
Well, we'll see what this kind of place this is first. It may take some time to plan.
I say give it a day max to plan, because we want to be able to know and be able to get gear accordingly.
Alright, so any more questions for Mr. Feng?
I'm good.
No, Kix is just nervous.
Did our data package tell us about the local hotspots for bars and that?
That's who you're going after, by the way. Yeah, there's like it's very comprehensive. Anything you could possibly think that you want, there are locations all over Shanghai detailed in the data packet.
Have we been assigned accommodation, or are we to find our own?
You have to find your own.
Okay.
But it detailed a list of places that are considered quite safe, literal safe houses with very little questions asked, and are Shadowrunner friendly. So
We should
How
probably
is
get
this
placed
warehouse?
you can stay in the warehouse if you want. It's a rat infested shithole, but
It'd give us nightmares.
it's definitely obscure. You get all that shit from it, but yeah.
Probably also a bit of cholera or something.
Yeah,
Bit of
Tex needs a
tetanus.
place to wash his hair. So
Yeah, I mean, do we
Space tetanus,
get
remember that, Josh? From way back when.
Yeah.
we were getting bonuses from being at like a high quality lifestyle, right? If we
Yeah.
stay here, we're going to get like negatives.
Well, if you stay here, probably very likely, yes.
This is a
Like
real shithole.
you could probably expect some, well, I mean, there's like literally industrial waste and rats all over the place. Do you want to sleep in that? I mean,
Why
you
do
get
you
the idea.
guys want to sleep in this shitty warehouse? We have whole file full of nice places to sleep here.
I spent so much money getting this in.
So did all of us.
I was thinking get a nice room at one of those Asian massage places where they give you a
A happy
girl to share
ending.
your bed with. Yeah.
I'm more comfortable with the higher lifestyles.
And men.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want a woman in my bed. Were you nuts?
Well, I will find closest thing to Coffin Hotel and sleep there.
Are we splitting up, or the majority going to stay together?
We are not in the same house together. I should say we should still stick close in terms of address.
Alright,
So there is plenty of literal hotels which are Shadowrunner friendly, or at least being recalled as Shadowrunner friendly, where they ask literally almost no questions. You pay in new and upfront only, and they, that's about it. It's got a bed, it's got a shower, it's got like a mini bar, it's got TV that you have to pay for unless you go on the Matrix and get free TV or whatever. But besides that, it's just like one little room. It's basically like a motel, but like a large, hotel basically is the way it's described. But it's no questions asked basically.
how
Well,
much would be renting a room for one and a room for two?
A room for one is 100 a night. A room for two is 150.
I turn to you, Tex, I guess, and say, should we go 2x2s, or I address the group and say 2x2s, so it's a little bit cheaper on our pockets. Don't mind bunking with someone, preferably.
Or rather, it's 150 a week. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
Or 100 for a week for a single bed, or 150 for two beds.
We should probably double up as much as we can.
Yeah, I go to Tex at this point and say, hey Tex, you want to bunk up? Because I look around the group and say, the others, I don't get along with as well, I'd say.
It's the kind of place where they change the sheets once a week, though, regardless of who's been sleeping in it. So, and there's no room service or anything. So.
I assume Giant will have to pay rate for the double room on own, so I will bunk with myself.
How much for like a high lifestyle equivalent?
A high lifestyle?
Yeah, but still in like a Shadowrun friendly place. Maybe a place that's a little bit more, although not equivalent to like that spot out of that movie with Keanu Reeves.
Yeah, I get exactly what you're talking
The
about.
Continental.
Yeah.
So you've been specifically sent to Baoshang because it is essentially the Shadowrunner zone in Shanghai. So there is some very high class areas which are not so much Shadowrun friendly as they are their understanding of anonymity and like your business is your own, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one of those for a week would be a lot more expensive. Like, you're talking maybe for a single bedroom, it's probably in the region of 500 yuan a week, and for a two bed, it's like 750.
You want to do one of those?
Yeah, like I don't mind buying a high.
Yeah.
you know what,
Plus,
I'll-
our shit'll be safer if if you have to leave something in the room. A place like that'll be better.
So Tex, I'll take the first week on me, and then we'll split it half if we have to be here longer. Or we will. So
Yeah, I'll reimburse you if we're not here longer than
They
that.
also filter the air and stuff, so...
Yeah,
Ooh.
Warren, I assume I've got to pay the equivalent for a double room for myself, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 150 a week.
Yep, for the, like, lower end one, yeah.
How much did you say the higher one was?
750
500 for a
double.
single, 750 for a double, yeah.
I imagine Giant's so heavy that instead of sliding the beds together, he has to stack them one on top of the other.
Diane just pushes them up against the side of the room and sleeps on the floor.
Brings a rucksack and throws on the floor. It's like, alright, yeah, you bring two sleeping bags that were like, you chopped off the bottom of one and tied, sewed it to the other one, and you just basically slip down into it.
My room come with a bath, because Firehead could sleep in that.
They come with showers, not
Oh,
baths.
does ours come
Can I
with a
sleep
bath?
in the shower?
Yours comes with like a bath that's, one of those very large ones. It also doubles as like a hot tub and things like that.
Ooh,
And it
it's
also
got
has a shower.
jets.
Oh shit.
So are you guys in a hotel then? Like it's like a high-end hotel?
They're in a high-end hotel, yeah.
Okay,
They're
Kix,
in the Continental.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I'm in the Coffin Hotel.
Just Kix needs like high internet connection for her jazz, right?
Yeah, well, that would be in a high-level place.
yeah, I'm willing to ask Amber if she wants to split it, and like we'll room in a room on the same floor with she and Tex.
Sure.
I get the feeling whenever you're around doing your like stuff, Amber like has to look away or turn off her AOR. Otherwise,
Doing my stuff.
yeah, because she has what's the thing you have again? It's
Simpsons
like,
Vertigo.
yeah, Simpsons Vertigo. So he literally or she literally can't look at like Matrix stuff without going crazy.
She gets sick, yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I just make some little blinders for
Well-
Amber.
I don't even have AR stuff, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter. Besides, I would be mostly locked up in my own little bedroom meditating because I'm initiating again.
Well, we're sharing a bedroom.
I'll be in the corner then.
She's in the corner doing like
in the bathroom.
a mystic quest in her head, basically.
Dragon's
Throw
Lair,
some
what the
blankets
fuck?
over.
me.
Well, I'm the only one left, I think.
Firehead.
Yeah, you, Murdoch and Firehead.
Do you two want
Are
to
we
stay
gonna
in
stay
the
somewhere
industrial warehouse burning rats?
Should we stay in the warehouse?
I'll get ill.
You're already ill, Murdoch. You're already ill.
Can't get any iller.
Yeah, you need the
You get
physical
ill.
disability to match the mental one.
You'll keep me warm, Firehead.
Yes, I will.
Okay.
We're gonna turn
then.
up at the warehouse one time, they'll both be like naked apart from boxes, just huddled together on the floor, spooning.
You'll turn up to pick them up tomorrow, and they'll just be like naked with boxes wrapped around them, and the warehouse will be on fire, and they'll just be staring at it.